The first sound is not the wind. It's your own breathing, loud inside the wool of your hat, echoing inside your skull like it's rattling around in an empty can. Each breath scratches at your throat, torn by the thin, high-altitude air. The second sound is the rope, creaking softly where it rubs against ice you cannot see. The third sound isn't a sound at all. It's the absence of one. The fox has stopped moving. You hang there, suspended in a column of blue darkness, one gloved hand clutching the fraying rope above you. The lantern at your belt swings in a wild, nervous circle, throwing pale light that smears across the ice walls, stretching your shadow into something long and crooked. Above you, somewhere beyond the lip of the crevasse, a small shape waits, rust-red fur against white snow, yellow eyes staring down, not barking, not whining, not pacing, just still. It was the fox that brought you here. You don't know that yet, not fully. You think you followed it. You think you made the decision. You still believe the choices are yours. They aren't, not tonight. The cold gnaws through your coat, through the layers you carefully zipped and snapped and buckled. It finds the decades-old ache in your shoulder where shrapnel once lodged. It runs its fingers along the scar at your ribs that no doctor ever quite understood. It finds every place the past has left its mark on you and presses, as if checking for weakness. You feel the past pressing back. Easy, you whisper, mostly to your own hands. Your voice comes out rough, faded, like a radio that hasn't been tuned in years. Your boots scrape against the ice, searching for some kind of shelf, some kind of ledge, anything but the sheer, frozen drop stretching beneath you. The lantern flickers. For a brief, terrible second, everything goes dim, just a suggestion of walls, a suggestion of depth. Then the flame steadies again, blooming inside its glass cage. It throws light on something you didn't want to see. Far below, in the blue distance, there is a shape in the ice. You squint, forcing your eyes to focus, but the cold makes them water. The shape is pale, buried in a curtain of frost, distorted by layers of time. An impression more than a body, a curve of something that might be an arm, the smear of something that might be a face, the dark line of what could be a belt or a strap, running across a chest that no longer rises. You tell yourself it's just trapped air, just a trick of the ice. You've seen bodies before, too many. They never look like this in your memory, quiet, blue, serene. They come with noise, with heat, with chaos. But the glacier is old, and it has been listening longer than you have been alive. It has heard screams that never made it into history books. It has swallowed things people wanted to forget and kept them, patient and silent, until the world changed enough to come looking again. Tonight, the world sent you. You don't know why the hairs at the back of your neck are standing up. You don't know why your fingers cling tighter to the rope, why your heart stumbles and then hammers harder. You only know that the fox stopped moving. You tilt your head back, blinking up toward the opening above. A thin slice of sky looks down at you, dusky, indigo, with the first stars trying to burn through the cold. Snow edges the crevasse like torn paper. At the rim, the fox leans closer, its narrow face appearing upside down, staring at you as if you are the one in the cage. Could use a little help, you mutter, because talking feels better than listening to the ice. Of course, the fox doesn't answer. It doesn't have to. It has already done its part, walking ahead of you in the snow when you tried to go back, pausing at the edge when you wanted to turn away, glancing over its shoulder every few steps with a patience you've only ever seen in soldiers who knew you were going to follow them, no matter how much you pretended you wouldn't. You remember the first time you saw it, only a few hours ago. The light was different then, thin and gold, slanting across the glacier like a last attempt at kindness from a distant sun. You had been walking along the marked trail, crampons biting into the hard snow with a steady, familiar rhythm. Step, step, breath, step. The air burned your lungs then too, but it was a clean burn, the burn of effort, not of fear. You weren't here for ghosts. You told yourself that more than once. You were here for exercise, for the quiet, for the way the world shrinks to the crunch of snow under your boots and the feel of the ice pole in your hand, for the way the mountains don't care what you did 20, 30, 40 years ago. They don't ask for stories. They don't want apologies. At least that's what you believed when you woke up this morning. Then the fox appeared. It had come from nowhere, slipping out from behind a drift as if the snow itself had decided to stand up and walk. Thin but not starving, coat rough but not mangy, tail held low, not in fear but in cautious calculation. It glanced at you once, measuring. Animals never needed long to decide about you. In other lives, in other white landscapes, dogs had learned your scent quickly. They de-learned the way you moved, the way your voice changed when you knew danger was close. They'd learned to trust you, to follow your hand signals without question. You detrusted them back, trusted them with more than you trusted most men. You don't think about that as you stand on the glacier, watching this fox. You just watch it watching you. Then it turns, trotting off the marked trail. Its paws press neat, delicate prints into untouched snow, curving toward a ridge of ice that your guide this morning had waved off with a quick, dismissive gesture. Too unstable, he'd said. Nothing there, no night. You watch the fox disappear behind the ridge. You tell yourself you will keep walking. You tell yourself you have no business chasing after a wild animal at your age. The world has had enough of you following shadows into dangerous ground. But your feet hesitate. The wind shifts, carries something faint to you. Not a voice, not yet, just a feeling. A pressure behind your ears, like someone trying to speak through the static of a very old radio. You straighten without really meaning to. Your hand tightens around the ice pole. The fox's head pops back into view, farther along the ridge now. It looks at you again, then flicks its ears, impatient. It makes no sound, but somehow the silence feels like an order. Well, you step off the trail. You don't admit to yourself that you are obeying anyone, not a guide, not an animal, not the past. You tell yourself you're just curious. The ground feels different immediately, the snow less compact, the crust thinner over hidden voids. You test each step like you used to test doors that might be wired to explode. Old habits don't retire just because you did. The fox keeps a careful distance ahead, always just far enough that you have to keep moving to see it clearly. It doesn't rush. It doesn't run. It stops when you stop, sits when you stand still, watching you without blinking. You make it as far as the ridge before you hear the first real sound. A whisper. Not the wind. Something in the ice under your boots shifts, groans softly, like bones turning in their sleep. A tiny crack skitters away from your left foot. The fox's ears flatten for a moment, but it doesn't flee. Instead, it darts to the edge of a depression in the snow and waits there, tail wrapped around its paws, eyes fixed on you with an intensity that feels almost human. This is stupid, you murmur, more to your heartbeat than to the fox. But you move closer, because you always have. You stand at the edge of the dip. The snow falls away in a smooth, deceptive curve. It looks solid. It is. The lantern at your belt chimes softly against your thigh as you shift your weight, and the sound carries oddly, swallowed by the empty space below. You kneel, pressing your glove into the snow. The crust gives, your hand sinking down into powder. Cold seeps in immediately, biting through even the insulated material. You feel nothing beneath, no hard surface, no reassuring firmness. Just depth. Every instinct you spent a lifetime hardening kicks in at once. This is bad ground. This is where things vanish. You should turn back. You should. You don't. Because now the whispering is clearer. It comes not from above, but from below, rising up through the ice like breath through a flute. You can't make out words, just a warble, a tremor in the air that prickles along your scalp and slides under your collar. It sounds almost like someone trying to speak your name while their teeth are chattering. No one knows your name up here. Except the man at the lodge who checked your passport, the woman who cooked your dinner, the guide who talked too loudly about the weather and too quietly about the year the avalanche took 3 tourists. And the fox. The fox you never told. You shift your weight back too fast. The snow beneath your boots collapses with a soft, decisive sigh. For an instant you are weightless, the world unmoored, sky and ridge and fox all tilting. Then you are falling. The surface rushes past you in a blur of white and blue. Your shoulder clips something hard, an outcrop of ice, and pain explodes up your neck, bright and hot, almost welcome in its familiarity. The rope you insisted on wearing, just in case, snaps taut with a savage jerk, slamming the harness into your hips and stealing what little air was left in your lungs. You dangle there, spinning slowly, lantern swinging, heart scrambling to catch up with what just happened. Snow and powder drift down around you in lazy spirals, like ash after a fire. The fox does not vanish from view. It stands at the broken edge, looking down at you, ears pricked, tail straight behind it like a question mark. In the echoing chamber of ice, the whispering grows louder. You realize with a strange, distant clarity that it is not just sound, it is rhythm. It matches something you once knew very well, the staccato burst of a radio you carried so long ago your hands were younger, steadier, bloodier. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. You hear it in the ice, in the subtle cracking, in the tiny collapses, in the way the glacier's slow grind turns into a message you haven't allowed yourself to remember in years. SOS. Your breath forgets what to do. You hang there, cold pressing in from every direction, the rope creaking above you, the pale shape deep within the ice staring up with faceless insistence. The fox tilts its head, as if listening to a sound beyond your hearing. Far below, the lantern light catches something metallic embedded in the blue, a glint, a curve, not natural, human-made. You know that shape, you know it before your mind can give it a name. It's the curve of a dog tag. Your dog tag. From a war you never fought on a glacier. The glacier whispers again, and this time, you hear your own name, spoken from inside the ice. You don't climb out right away. You don't even try. For a long suspended moment, you simply hang there, breathing hard, rope trembling, body swaying gently like a pendulum marking time in a place where time hasn't mattered for centuries. The ice catches every sound you make and throws it back at you, warped, delayed, as if the glacier itself is practicing your voice. Your name still echoes inside your skull. You tell yourself it came from memory, not the ice. You tell yourself memory can trick a tired mind, especially at altitude. You tell yourself a lot of things. The glacier whispers back anyway. Your fingers curl tighter around the rope. Your gloves creak. Your heartbeat tries to settle into something manageable, but every time the lantern swings, every time its light skims that strange shape frozen far below, it jumps back into a frantic rhythm. You know what you saw, but you also know you shouldn't trust what you saw. Not yet. Not here. Not when the world is tilting between what is real and what you brought with you. Above you, the fox finally moves. It steps back from the rim of the crevasse, just enough that you can see the ridge line, snow drifting softly across, shifting in pale, restless waves. The wind has picked up again, carrying sharp crystals that sting your face even down here. The fox's silhouette shifts, pacing once, twice, then sitting. Waiting. Always waiting. A memory scratches at you, something faint, something you rarely let surface. Another animal once waited for you this way. Different time, different cold. Different loss. You shove the thought aside, it shoves back. The whispering in the ice softens, fading into a low, steady groan that feels almost like breathing. You shift your weight again, this time carefully, the rope whining as fibers grind. Your shoulder throbs from where it struck the ice, warmth pulses beneath your coat, proof of swelling that will likely ruin your sleep tonight. You should climb up, you know this. Get out, rest, wait for daylight. Tell yourself you imagined everything. But daylight won't change the shape. Daylight won't change the glint of metal that looked too familiar. Daylight won't change the fox's behavior. And daylight won't change the fact that the glacier whispered your name, whether through sound or through memory doesn't matter. Something here knows you. You draw a breath, slow and deliberate, feeling your ribs resist. Then you plant your boots against the ice wall and begin to move. The first step is shaky. Your legs feel like the cold hollowed them out, but muscle memory does what your mind struggles to, keeps you alive. You climb with the same stubborn method you learned long before you ever saw mountains. Test, pull, brace, move. The ice cracks softly beneath one crampon, but your body adjusts mid-motion, redistributing weight without conscious thought. You rise inch by inch, the rope whispering against the lip of the crevasse until your hands find the rim. Snow collapses inward as you pull yourself onto the surface, chest heaving, lantern clattering against your thigh. You roll onto your back, staring up at the emerging stars, letting the cold numb the pain swelling in your shoulder. The fox stands beside you, so close you can hear its breathing. You turn your head. It tilts its own in response. You wonder for the first time, truly wonder, whether it's simply curious or whether it recognizes you. Why here, you murmur. The fox blinks once. Then it steps toward you, places one paw gently on your coat near your ribs and presses, not painfully, not insistently, just enough. As if to remind you of something lodged beneath that scar. You sit up slowly, testing the joint in your shoulder. Pain flares sharp, then steadies, manageable. The lantern flickers again, its flame shuddering against the wind. You cup your hand around it, shielding it. The fox turns, trotting a few steps away, then looks back at you. It wants you to follow. You feel it more than you understand it. Not the smartest idea, you whisper. But you stand anyway. Your boots crunch into the refreezing snow, each step ringing louder now that your ears have tuned to the ice's vocabulary. The fox leads you along the ridge, moving with the certainty of something that has walked this glacier many times before. It pauses only when you lag behind, tail flicking impatiently. You lift the lantern higher, letting its circle of light stretch outward. Shadows ripple across ice formations, jagged ridges, columns of frost that rise like statues carved by a blind hand. The cold tastes different here, sharper, laced with minerals and something metallic that sits heavy on your tongue. As you walk, flashes of memory push through the cracks in your mind, not images, sensations. The smell of diesel. A gunmetal dawns. A dog leaning against your leg, warm weight, steady heartbeat. A radio crackling with a voice saying your name right before everything went wrong. You shake your head trying to clear it, but memories have their own gravity. And something here is pulling. The fox leads you toward a narrow slope of ice where deep blue light glows beneath the surface, as if the glacier holds a lantern of its own. Snow has drifted over the entrance, but not fully. There's a faint gap, a subtle tunnel carved between massive, frozen walls. The fox slips inside without hesitation. You follow, lowering your head, lantern held out in front of you. The tunnel swallows you in cold silence. Every footstep sounds too loud, too intrusive. The ice amplifies your heartbeat until it feels like something walking beside you. The walls are layered, pale blues, milky whites, streaks of ancient sediment. Your lantern light glints off trapped air bubbles, suspended forever in patterns that look eerily like constellations. You brush your fingers across one section of the wall. The cold bites instantly. Inside the ice, tiny fissures spiderweb outward, making a brittle sound like cracking bones. You jerk your hand back. The fissures knit themselves closed. Slowly, too slowly. Your pulse stumbles. This place reacts. The fox stops at the end of the tunnel. You join it, stepping into a wide hollow carved naturally, or maybe not naturally, into the glacier. The space glows faintly with its own light, a soft blue radiance that seems to rise from nowhere. The air is still, heavy, expectant. You take one step forward, and the lantern flame guttered. You take another, and it steadies. At the far end of the chamber, partially buried in ice, lies something you didn't expect. Not the dog tag. Not yet. A lantern. Old. Metal rusted to the color of dried blood. Glass fogged from within. And beside it, a boot. Leather cracked by decades of cold. Still attached to a leg that continues beneath the ice. Still human. Still intact. The fox sits beside the frozen figure, tail curled neatly around its feet. It looks at you with an expression you don't know how to read. You swallow hard, your breath frosting the air in front of you. Your shoulder throbs again. Your ribs ache in their familiar, unwelcome rhythm. You take another step. The lantern's beam sweeps across more ice, more shadow. Then it catches something hanging just above the frozen body. A chain. Thin. Metallic. Swinging slightly in the confined air. You step closer. The chain clicks softly as you lift it. The ice around it cracks, shedding tiny crystals that fall like glass dust. At the end of the chain is a pair of dog tags. 2. Not ones. Both welded together by frost. You scrape away a layer of ice with your thumb. Your breath stops. The first tag's name is unfamiliar. But the second is yours. You drop the chain. It hits the ice with a sound far too loud for such a small object. The fox flinches. Your mind runs through possible explanations, each one more impossible than the last. You have your dog tags. They're in your room. In your bag. You checked them this morning, like you always do. So whose are these? Who wore them? Why are they here? And why did the fox know where to find them? You back away slowly, because something inside you has begun to unravel, slow at first, then faster, like a seam pulled from a coat stitched too tightly for too many years. The glacier groans again. This time, the whisper in the ice is clearer. Not a name. A sentence. Cold, warped. Old. Not yours alone. Your throat dries. Your pulse races. Your lantern flickers once, twice, then steadies in a hard, determined flame. Something deep beneath the ice shifts. A crack runs up the far wall, long and purposeful. Snow filters down from the chamber ceiling like falling dust from a forgotten room. You turn toward the tunnel, instinct screaming at you to move. But the fox steps in front of you, blocking the exit. Its fur bristles. Its eyes fix on the wall with the frozen man. And in that strange, breathless silence, you hear something new. A heartbeat. Slow. Steady. Not yours. Not the fox's. From inside the ice. The heartbeat shouldn't exist. Not here. Not inside ice older than every scar on your body. But it echoes through the hollow chamber with slow, deliberate certainty. Thump. A pause long enough to convince you the sound was imagined. Thump. Again, deeper this time, as if something is waking under miles of silence. Your skin tightens. Not from cold. From recognition your mind refuses to accept. The fox inches closer to the frozen figure, ears flat, tail low, the stiff posture of an animal that knows it is standing too close to something unnatural, and yet isn't afraid enough to run. You, on the other hand, you take one step backward. Your boot scrapes against ice, and the sound ricochets around the chamber like a warning shot. The heartbeat pauses. The glacier holds its breath with you. Then, a hairline crack splits the ice over the body's chest. Just one thin line, running vertically, delicate as a spider thread. Then another crossing it. A web forming. Your lantern flame shrinks, trembling. You breathe through teeth clenched so hard your jaw aches, forcing air past tight muscles that don't want to move. This is impossible. The words are barely sound. Barely breaths. You hear yourself say them and they feel too small for this place, too fragile. The fox steps back and makes a soft, guttural sound. Not a bark, not a whines. Something older. It's warning you. But not from the ice. From what's beneath it. You take 2 slow steps forward. Not because bravery pushes you. Bravery died somewhere far behind you, in a country whose dirt still clings to your memories like smoke. No. You step closer because something in the way the glacier cracked feels familiar. You've seen fractures like this. In concrete. In plastered walls. In bones. In men. When pressure inside was too great to stay hidden. You kneel beside the frozen lantern first. Its metal is warped, but the shape is unmistakable. A military-issue cold weather lamp from a region you once served in. A winter no one wanted. A year no one talks about. Your fingers hover above it as a ghost of memory brushes the back of your mind. A tent collapsing under sudden wind. Someone shouting for help. Boots running over ice that cracked like gunfire. You blink. The memory dissolves. Only the cold remains, licking at your knuckles. You stand again, the ache in your shoulder pulsing with old rhythm. Your lantern's glow stretches across the ice until it reaches the dog tags on the ground. The chain lies curled like a metallic snake trapped in hibernation, half buried in crystal dust. You nudge it with your boot. The tags slide, scraping softly. The sound triggers something. A flash. Not an image. A sensation. Heavy snow. Pressure on your ribs. A soldier screaming your name over the roar of an avalanche. You inhale sharply, chest tightening. That same sensation presses at you now, as if the glacier is trying to remind you of something you forced yourself to forget. Your name shouldn't be on those tags. Not twice. Not in two different worlds. You pick them up. The metal is bitterly cold, biting even through your glove. You brush the frost off the second tag. There it is. Your name. Your number. Your blood type. The information etched with a machine identical to the one from the base where you served. The base half a world away from here. You clench the tags until they dig into your palm. Your breath fogs out in a harsh plume, hanging in the air like smoke from a distant fire. The frozen man beneath the ice is still visible. Still sealed. His chest unmoving. His face obscured. But the heartbeat, steady now, belongs to something. Someone. You force yourself to look closer. Line in, lantern raised. The ice distortions begin to shift, as if the glacier itself is reluctant to reveal what it holds. You see a cheek, a jaw, a mouth slightly open, frozen mid-exhale. A beard short, trimmed, familiar style. A nose you could sketch blindfolded. A scar near the eyebrow. A scar you gave yourself. A scar you earned. You freeze. Your lantern nearly slips from your hand. Because the face inside the ice, the face staring outward without seeing, is yours. Older. Younger. You can't tell. Ice distorts everything except truth. And the truth is carved in perfect detail. You drop the lantern. It clatters, rolls, beams spinning wildly across the chamber. Shadows whip around, fractured by the ice. You stumble backward, breath hammering, lungs refusing to cooperate. Your palms sweat despite the cold. The fox rushes to your side, circling once, brushing your leg as if trying to anchor you in reality. Reality laughs at the attempt. You slam your back against the nearest wall, needing the solidity, needing the cold to ground you. Your heartbeat surges until it feels like your ribs are shaking. The frozen version of you does not move. But the ice around him cracks again. A long vertical fracture, splitting the chest. The heartbeat grows louder. No. Your voice is thin, dry, like wind scraping over bare stone. This no, I'm hallucinating. The fox's ears flatten. It huffs sharply as if to correct you, to deny your denial. The air shifts. A draft you didn't feel before sweeps across the chamber, stirring snow into slow spirals. Your lantern lying on the ice steadies its flame, almost as if acknowledging what you refuse to admit. You stare at your frozen reflection. Your mind fights itself. This cannot be me. I am here. I am breathing. I survived. I survived. The glacier disagrees. You gather the courage you don't feel and take 3 slow steps back toward the ice. Each footfall echoes. Each echo returns wrong. Not delayed, not warped. Challenged. As if you're hearing someone else's footsteps walking in rhythm with yours. When you're close enough to reach out, you don't. Your hand hovers. Trembling. You want to touch the ice, but instinct screams that contact will do more than chill your skin. It will connect something. Something that has been waiting years for you to come back. The heartbeat grows louder. Thump. The ice glows faintly from within. Thump. A pulse deep in the chest of the frozen figure makes the cracks flare like lightning under glass. Th. The ice explodes outward. Just a sharp crack, nothing more, but loud enough to send shards flying. You shield your face with your arm, stumbling backward, vision blurring as tiny needles of ice pepper the air. The fox bolts to your side again, crouching low, fur raised. You hear a sound from the ice. Not a heartbeat. Not a whisper. A breath. A human breath. Long trapped. Now released. You stare. Your throat closes. Your knees nearly give out. Because the frozen man, the man with your face, just exhaled. The exhale shouldn't echo. Breath shouldn't carry weight in air this cold. And yet, the sound rolls through the hollow chamber like a quiet avalanche, soft but unstoppable, pressing against your ribs from the inside. You don't move. You can't. Your muscles lock the way they used to when flares lit up midnight patrols, when the world froze before danger announced itself. The fox stays pressed against your leg. Its fur trembles with a tension that doesn't come from fear, but recognition. The frozen version of you, the one sealed in the glacier, lies still again. No motion, no rise of the chest, no movement behind the eyelids you now realize are half open. You swallow hard. Your throat feels lined with frost. The cracks spiderweb wider, framing the body in shards of blue-white crystal. Lantern light scatters through the fractures, painting broken halos that shimmer across your own face, your own hands, the fox's fur. You force yourself to step forward. Just 1 inch. The ice creaks. This isn't possible. The words scratch out of you, shaky, thin. But the glacier has already rejected the laws you trusted. Possibility ended the moment you saw your own frozen face. You kneel, ignoring the way your injured shoulder screams. The ice wall is inches from your glove, a breath away, one decision away. The fox shifts beside you. A low growl vibrates in its throat, not aggressive, more like warning mixed with worry. Its yellow eyes flick between you and the frozen body, as if anticipating what you're about to do. Easy, you whisper, not sure whether you're talking to the fox or yourself. Your hand hovers above the ice. A tremor runs through your wrist. Your breath shakes. You touch the glacier. The cold slams into you like a memory you've been outrunning for decades. Your fingertips feel flayed, nerves burning from contact that goes deeper than skin. You pull in a breath that tastes like metal, snow, and something older than human language. For a fraction of a second, your mind isn't in the hollow chamber anymore. It's somewhere else. A helicopter rotor chopping frozen air. A voice on a radio screaming your name. A dog barking furiously, pulling at its handler's harness. Whiteout conditions swallowing men whole. A crack louder than thunder, splitting the world open. A fall. A long, unending fall. Your eyes snap open. Your hand rips free from the ice. You stagger backward, nearly losing your footing. The vision clings to you like smoke. You can still hear the dog barking. You can still feel the fall beneath your ribs. You brace your hand against your thigh, grounding yourself. You force air into your lungs. Focus. 1 breath, then another. The frost on your glove glitters faintly, as if the glacier left something on you. A residue. A memory. You blink. The fox steps in front of you, nudging your knee, grounding you back in this moment. Okay, you whisper, voice barely intact. Okay, I hear you. Because the fox isn't frightened. Not running. Not screaming at the impossible. It's steady. Almost like it's seen this before. You turn back toward the figure in the ice. The face, your face, is clearer now, no longer distorted by deep layers of frost. The ice is thinning. You can see skin, colorless but whole, traces of frost clinging to stubble, lips slightly parted from that impossible breath. The cracks pulse faintly, not with light but with movement, pressure building behind them. You lift your lantern again. Its flame wavers, bending toward the frozen body as though pulled by gravity. A noise rises from the wall. Not a heartbeat this time. Not breathing. A voice, faint, muffled, as if speaking through snow. Find me. You lurch back. Your lantern slams against your chest. Your pulse rockets. No, no, that's not real, that's. The fox barks sharply. Just once. A sharp cutting sound that ricochets across the chamber and shatters your denial. It walks straight to the ice wall, nose nearly touching the cracks. It looks back at you. And waits. Your legs turn heavy. Your breath shallows. You take a step. The chamber vibrates slightly under your boots. Then another. Your heart hammers a counterrhythm to the steady pulse coming from the ice. You're close enough now to see something metallic strapped to the frozen version of you. A satchel. A field pack. Old design. The kind issued during your first deployment, long before better equipment replaced it. The fox places its paw against the ice, directly over where the pack is. You follow the gesture. Your hand lifts, and before you touch it, the glacier shifts. The crack running through the chest splits downward, jagged. The one at the shoulder branches. A fracture races across the ice like lightning. The wall groans deep, resonant, ancient. You jump back instinctively, pulling the fox with you. A long piece of ice shears off and crashes onto the floor, exploding into shards that spray across your boots. The chamber sways. Your stomach lurches. A chunk of sealing snow falls behind you with a heavy thud. For a second, a long, paralyzing second, you think the entire glacier is collapsing. But no, the movement stops. Silence returns. A silence so deep you swear it could swallow sound whole. When the clouds of frost settle, you see what the fallen ice has revealed. A hand. Not frozen now. Not encased. Just a hand. Human. Warm-looking. Skin exposed. Your skin. Your stomach twists. Your pulse stutters in your throat. Then, the fingers twitch, and the hand opens, palm facing you, as if asking to be taken. You stare at the hand. It's the only part of him that's free, the rest of the body still buried in the glacier like a half-unearthed fossil, but the hand is unmistakably human, warm-colored, unfrozen. And alive. Your breath knots in your throat. Your feet root to the ice. The fingers stretch slowly, as if waking from a sleep that lasted longer than any human should survive. They tremble slightly, searching the air, seeking contact, seeking you. The fox inches forward again, staying low, muscles taut. It doesn't growl this time. It doesn't back away. Instead, it touches its nose to the edge of the fallen ice chunk, mere inches from the outstretched hand. A flash of something, recognition, memory, instinct, flickers in the fox's gaze. It turns to you. And for the first time tonight, its expression is something like urgency. You swallow, your tongue thick and dry. Your voice comes out like frost cracking. This isn't real. But the hand curls its fingers again. Not spasms. Not decomposition. Not imagination. A deliberate gesture. Come closer. You take one shaky step backward. The sound you make, a sharp inhale, a scrape of boots, echoes around the chamber like a warning. The ice tightens its echo-laden silence around you. Your shoulder throbs. Your ribs feel too tight. Part of you, the part trained for years to avoid traps, tells you to turn around, walk up the tunnel, and leave this cavern forever. But another part, the part that has been waiting for answers without knowing it, keeps your boots frozen in place. The fox moves again. Not toward the hand now, but toward you. It presses its head against your knee, not gently this time, but insistently. A push. A nudge. As if saying, go. Your heart slams once, hard enough to shake your vision. You force your legs to move, forward, not back. One step. The frozen wall exhales a faint mist. Another step. The cracks pulse as if the ice is breathing with you. Another. You crouch. Your knees creak. Your coat shifts. The lantern casts a circle of trembling gold around you, around him. The hand opens wider when you get close, palm exposed. The skin tone. The shape of the knuckles. The tiny scar on the index finger you got when a tent pole snapped 40 years ago. It's your hand. Perfectly. Unmistakably. You reach out. Your glove hovers over that impossible palm. Your fingertips tingle. Not from cold, but from something electric in the air. Just before you touch him, a rush of memory slams through your skull like a sudden storm. A dog barking as you dig through snow. A soldier's voice screaming your name through the radio. The roar of an avalanche starting far above. Hands clawing at ice. Your own voice yelling, "Hold on, hold on." You stumble, gripping your temples. Pain flashes behind your eyes, blinding white. The fox yelps and circles you, frantic, as if trying to break the memory's grip. You push the vision away. You force your focus back to the hand. The one waiting for yours. You extend your own. Your glove brushes his. A spark jumps between your palms. Not heat. Not static. Something deeper. Something that feels like recognition between two halves of a broken mirror. The chamber shakes. Ice groans. Snow drifts from the ceiling like ashes from a slow-burning fire. The frozen man's fingers snap closed. Around your wrist. Your pulse stutters violently. You try to pull back. You can't. His grip is stronger than your aging bones should be able to resist. A force drags you closer, inch by inch, until your face is only a foot from the fractured ice. You see his eyes through the cracks. Open now. Frost clinging to the lashes. The same shade as yours. The same shape. But older. And tired. So tired. He moves his lips. The ice muffles the sound, distorts it, but you hear one word. Finally. Your skin crawls. Your stomach twists. Every instinct screams to get away. But his grip tightens. A long crack runs up the wall, cutting right across his face. The ice begins to melt. Not over minutes. Not naturally. Instantly. Water cascades down, steaming against the cold, dripping over your glove, your arm. The fox backs away with a startled bark. You wrench, pulling with all the strength you have left. Your shoulder flares in agony. Finally, his grip loosens and you fall backward onto the ice, sliding until your boots hit a mound of frozen snow. You scramble up. The fox positions itself between you and the melting figure, tail rigid, head lowered. The glacier moans like a wounded animal. More cracks rupture outward, forming jagged lines that glow faintly blue. Steam rises. And then, a sound tears from the ice. A long, strangled inhale, like lungs drawing breath for the first time in decades. The man, your double, lurches forward inside the melting block, shoulders shifting, mouth opening as if gasping for his first breath of living air. You choke on your own breath. What are you? You don't hear your own voice. Just the pounding in your skull. The ice shatters around his torso. His chest breaks free. He pulls himself forward. Arms trembling, fingers digging into wet ice, dragging his body out of a tomb that shouldn't have preserved him. His head lifts. Drops of ice water roll off his face. He looks at you. And in a voice barely more than a whisper. A voice that sounds like yours, filtered through 15 years of exhaustion. He says, "You left me." The words hit you harder than the cold ever could. Not shouted. Not angry. Just spoken. Soft, inevitable. A truth delivered by a voice shaped exactly like yours. But worn down, hollowed out, frayed at the edges. The fox presses against your shin, trembling with a tension that no longer reads as fear. but grief, as if it remembers this moment, as if it has lived this moment, as if it has been waiting for you to reach it. Steam rises from the melting ice. The chamber glows with an eerie blue light, the walls pulsing with trapped centuries. Your double drags himself forward, breaking more ice with each trembling motion. His breath shakes, ragged, unnatural. He collapses to his knees, hands on the ice, head bowed, soaked clothes clinging to a body that should not be alive. That should not exist. Your throat tightens around words you can't form. Instinct training older than most of your memories pushes you forward. You reach out before thinking, before questioning. But the fox leaps between you, snarling, a sound you haven't heard from it before, deep, guttural, ripped from something primal. Your double raises his head slowly. Steam drifts off his skin. His eyes, your eyes, lock onto the fox. He whispers, voice trembling with something like shame. "You remember me." The fox growls louder. Its fur stands up in a ridge along its spine. Your double looks back at you, through you, as if searching for something behind your face. How are you alive?" you force out. The words feel thick, frozen, unwilling. He smiles. Not cruel, not warm, just achingly sad. "I'm not," he whispers. "Not the way you are." Your heart stumbles. You take a step closer despite yourself. What does that mean? He presses a fist to his chest. His fingers tremble. His knuckles whiten. Do you hear it, the glacier? It won't let me stop. Your skin crawls. He lifts his face fully now. Pale, hollow, bruised by decades of cold that somehow never killed him. "This place remembers everything," he murmurs. It remembers the avalanche, the storm, the dog, the fox's mother. Your breath freezes mid-inhale. Images slam into you. A fox limping through snow, tiny body shaking. Your hands lifting it, wrapping it in your coat. The sound of snow shifting above you. A soldier yelling for you to run. A wall of white swallowing the world. A sharp, violent silence. Your knees buckle slightly. The fox nudges your leg sharply, grounding you, pulling you away from the edge of another flashback. Your double watches all of it. He nods slowly, knowingly. "You saved the mother," he says softly. "She led you to us, to me." His eyes glisten, not with tears, with something like frost melting under heat. "You didn't abandon me," he says, voice fraying. "You never came back because you never remembered." Your stomach drops. The world tilts. "I don't." "You don't remember," he finishes for you. "Because you weren't the one who fell." The chamber falls silent. Even the ice stops groaning. The fox lowers its head. Your pulse pounds so hard your ribs ache. "What are you talking about?" Your voice cracks, breaks, barely holds. He reaches toward you. Not grabbing this time, not forcing. Just lifting a trembling hand. "You went for help," he breathes. "You climbed out, you survived the fall. You wandered, half frozen, half dead, and the storm took your memories." He gestures at himself, still trapped from the waist down in a thick column of ice. "You never realized you weren't alone down here." Your vision blurs. Not from emotion, from something older. Something rising like an undertow from the glacier's depths. He continues, words spilling like water through cracks. "You and I, we were one, until the fall split us, body and memory, flesh and ghost." He presses his palm against the ice that still holds him. The cracks spread outward like veins. "I am what the glacier kept." He looks at you. "I am what it wouldn't let die." You stagger back. Your boots skid on the wet ice. You're saying, "I left part of myself here." No. He shakes his head slowly. You didn't leave me, you lost me. The fox walks to him, slow, cautious, and rests its small head on his knee. He smiles, a bitter, cracked thing, and strokes its fur with trembling fingers. She remembered, he says. The mother waited, and when she died, this one, he nods at the fox, took her place, same blood, same duty. Your chest tightens. Your breath grows shallow. I don't understand, you whisper. I don't. He cuts you off, voice sharper now, edges of panic forming. You don't have time to understand. The glacier shudders violently. A long crack rips across the ceiling. Chunks of ice rain down, smashing the floor. The fox darts behind you, barking sharply. Your double's expression changes, fear sliding into desperation. Listen to me. He pulls against the ice holding him, straining so hard the veins in his neck bulge. They're coming. You freeze. Who? The crack widens above you. A roar begins deep inside the glacier. Not water, not ice. Something heavier. Something alive. Your double slams his palm against the wall. He remembers you. Another roar shakes the chamber, deafening, ancient. The walls tremble. The fox whines, pressing against your calf. Your double grabs your coat with his one free hand, yanking you close until your faces nearly touch. His breath is cold as he whispers. The mountain didn't bury just us. The roar surges again. Closer, closer. The ice behind you begins to crack open, splitting from floor to ceiling. And something inside it moves. The crack behind you splits wider. A deep, violent tear ripping through the glacier like something inside is clawing its way out. Ice dust sprays into the air, shimmering in your lantern's trembling light. The fox shoves itself against your shin, whining low. Your double's grip tightens on your coat, fingers icy and desperate. Turn around, he rasps. Slowly. You don't want to. Your body knows before your mind does. Whatever is behind you is not human. Not like you. Not like him. But you turn. Because you have no choice. The crack yawns open, groaning like an old metal hull straining at sea. Chunks of ice fall away in wet slabs, exposing a dark void inside the glacier, far darker than the surrounding blue, as if no light has touched that place in centuries. Something shifts within it. Something large. Something breathing. Your lantern flame shrinks to a needle of gold. The darkness moves again. A low thud vibrates through the hollow chamber, rattling your ribs. Not a heartbeat this time. A step. Heavy. Deliberate. Your double whispers behind you. He wasn't supposed to wake. The fox presses closer to you until its fur brushes your leg, tail tucked between its hind legs. You feel its tremors through your pants. Another step. Then another. The ice fractures with each. You've heard footsteps like this before. In jungles. In bombed-out cities. In ruined halls where something big and armored moved in the dark. But this has weight that feels ancient. Intention that feels personal. You raise your lantern. The light quivers, washing across the cracked ice. For a moment, just a moment, you see something inside the void. Pale, tall, moving with a wrongness that makes your skin crawl. Limbs too long. Frame too thin. But powerful. A thing built not to live, but to endure. Its head tilts, reflecting light. Eyes opening. Two pale orbs like glass marbles buried under frost. Your breath dies. Completely. Not fear. Recognition. You whisper, barely audible. No, I saw you die. Your double's voice comes tight, strained. You didn't, none of us did. The creature steps fully into the fractured blue glow. Its skin is half flesh, half ice. Patches of frozen tissue fuse to it like armor. Its joints move stiffly, cracking with frost. Its mouth is sewn half shut by threads of ice, but you still hear the hiss of breath forcing its way out. It's human. Or it was. Once. A survivor. A soldier. Someone you knew. Someone whose face flashes through a dozen barely remembered missions. He was with you the night of the avalanche. He fell with you. You feel it. That echo of brotherhood, fear, and duty buried under decades of forgetting. But something changed him. The glacier did not preserve him like your double. It consumed him, rebuilt him, bound him. He steps forward, limbs trembling with strength that defies logic. The ice embedded in his skin pulses faintly. His gaze locks onto you. Not your double. You. Your double's voice breaks. He's been searching for me, for you, for the one who got away. Your lungs seize. Your knees weaken. You force words out, though your mouth barely obeys. What does he want? Your double's answer cuts the air like a cold blade. He wants to finish what the avalanche started. The creature opens its half-frozen mouth. The sound that escapes isn't speech. Just a guttural, cracking moan that echoes in the hollow chamber like a dying world. But something inside your mind stirs. A memory flickering back to life in fast, broken pieces. You shouting for him to grab your hand. Him slipping, fingers brushing yours. The fox's mother screaming. The ground giving way. Him falling. You scrambling up. You laving him beneath the snow. Or thinking you did. Or forgetting. Your double grips your arm from behind, voice cracked with urgency. He thinks you abandoned him, like you abandoned me. I didn't abandon anyone's. You shout before you realize you're shouting. The chamber throws your voice back at you, twisted. The creature reacts. Its head snaps upright. Its body stiffens. Recognition flickers across pale eyes. Sharp, furious, betrayed. It lurches forward, cracking the ice beneath its feet. Your double yells, move. The fox leaps aside. You dive to your left, slipping on wet ice, catching yourself with one hand as your shoulder screams. A heavy arm swings past your head, slamming into the wall with enough force to send shards exploding across the chamber. The impact shakes the floor. Your lantern skitters across the ice, rolling, casting wild arcs of light that turn the scene into a strobing nightmare. Your double screams your name. You roll, barely missing another strike that would have crushed your ribs. The creature roars. A raw, cracking sound that rattles the ceiling. Your double shouts over it. You can't fight him, he's tied to the glacier's memory. He only stops when it stops. What does that even mean? You yell back. It means he can't die. Your stomach drops. Your pulse spikes. Great. Just great. The fox darts in front of the creature, barking sharply, defiantly. A warning, not an attack. It tries to distract him, drawing his gaze away from you. It works. For one awful second, the creature focuses on the fox. Its head tilts. Its body shifts. No. You surge to your feet. The creature lifts its arm. Too slow to catch you, but fast enough to crush the fox. You sprint, boots slipping, shoulder throbbing. Ignoring pain, fear, the voice screaming inside your skull. And slam into the creature's side with all the strength your battered body has left. It reels unbalanced, skidding across the ice. A crack opens beneath its weight. The chamber rumbles. A cascade of ice dust falls from above. Your double shouts, "Get to me now." You stumble toward him, fox at your heels. The creature rises again. Angry, shaking, awakening fully. And as you reach your double, as his frozen hand clamps your arm, he whispers, "There's only one way to end this." You pant, chest burning. How? He looks at you with something between mercy and regret. You have to remember everything you forgot. The creature roars again, and the glacier begins to crack open beneath all three of you. The glacier shakes so violently you feel the tremor inside your teeth. Ice fractures web across the floor, racing between your boots and your double's half-freed body. The creature, your lost comrade twisted by decades inside living ice, lets out a roar that cracks through the chamber in jagged sound waves. Your double grips your arm with a strength that should be impossible for someone only half-thawed. His voice is sharp, cracking under strain. Focus, you have to remember now. I can't just force it. Your heart slams against your ribs, breath burning. I don't even know what I'm trying to. He yanks you closer so hard pain spikes up your injured shoulder. His eyes, your eyes, lock onto yours with desperate clarity. Yes, you do. His voice softens, dropping into a register only someone who truly knows you could use. You've always known. The creature staggers toward you, one heavy step, then another, each one driving shards of ice upward like broken spears. You and your double both flinch as the beast's arm swings wide, smashing through a crystalline wall. Tell me, you shout. Tell me what I'm missing. Your double releases your arm and presses a trembling hand to your chest. Right over your heartbeats. You lost more than memory, he whispers. You lost the reason we survived that night. The fox barks sharply, quick, rhythmic, insistent. Then it runs. Past you. Past your double. Straight toward the churning cracks in the floor. No. You chase after it instinctively, boots slipping on flooding meltwater. But the fox doesn't fall in. Instead, it skids to a halt in front of the widening fissure and paws frantically at the ice. Your double shouts through the shaking chamber. It knows where you buried it. You freeze. Your breath plummets in your lungs. Where you buried it. Another roars. The monstrous survivor tears a slab of ice from the wall and hurls it. It smashes into the ground just feet behind you, spraying shards that slice your cheek. You stagger forward, following the fox. Kneel at the fissure. Peer down. A faint metal glint catches your light. Not modern metals. Not gear. Something older. Exactly the shape and color of a military signal pack. A rectangular bundle. Worn canvas. Frayed straps. Faded numbers. You inhale a thin, splintering breath. The fox scratches harder, frantic. Your double's voice breaks into a cry. That pack, that's what he wants. That's what the glacier kept from you. Your vision spins. The pieces slam into place. Images sharp as broken glass. You digging with numb fingers in a storm so fierce it blurred the world white. A fox the same coloring as the one beside you now, whining desperately as it limped around something half buried. A soldier shouting, "Get out of there, the ridge is going." Your hands grabbing the signal pack, ripping it free from snow. You turning. You seeing your comrades running. The creature, your comrade before he changed, slipping backward into the avalanche. The pack tumbling from your grip. You diving after it. The fox leaping at your coat, pulling, saving you. The pack falling deeper into the fissure. Into the glacier. Vanishing. The storm slammed into you next. Memory fractured. Your double, the version of you who remembered the fall, was trapped inside the ice. You, the version who climbed back into the world, lost the truth as your mind rewrote survival into blankness. Your double was right. You didn't abandon him. You forgot him. Because the glacier took the memory when it split you. And the creature, the survivor, the one now lumbering towards you with murder in its pale, frozen eyes. Remembers everything. You whisper, voice hollow and breaking. That pack. It had the distress beacon. Your double's voice echoes. And the map. The map. You see it clearly now. Blurred edges but real. A hand-drawn survival route. Secret ravines. An old smuggler's path beneath the mountain. The only way out. You hear yourself breathe wrong. Too fast, too shallow. But there is no time to slow down. The creature steps closer. Its foot slams down so hard the ice floor caves an inch. Your balance sways. Cold water crashes around your boots. Your double screams. Take the fox and Geo. You spin toward him. No, I can't leave you. Yes, you can. His voice suddenly softens, steady, heartbreakingly calm. Because you already did once, and it saved us both. He gestures toward the fisher. Toward the pack flashing under flickering lantern light. That pack ends this. It ends OHIM. It ends the glacier's hold on us. You choke on air. I can't leave you here again. The fox barks sharply, loud, fierce, and then leaps into the fissure. Your stomach flips, until the fox lands on a lower shelf of ice you hadn't seen. It turns to you and yips, urgent. A command. A play. The creature roars. Your double shouts your name. A massive crack races across the floor, slicing toward you like a lightning bolt. You don't think. You dive. Your body hits the ice. You slide into the fissure, grabbing the ledge just as the creature's hand swings through the air where your head had been. You drop onto the shelf beside the fox, boots slipping on slick ice. The creature screams from above. A furious, wounded, betrayed sound that shakes the narrow walls around you. Your double's voice rings out. Geo, find the pack, finish this. You stare up at him. The man you were. The man you used to be. The memories you lost. The part of you carved out by trauma and storm. He meets your gaze, eyes steady. A silent understanding passes between you. A promise. He slams both hands against the ice around his waist, forcing more cracks into the glacier. It groans deep, angry. He looks at you one last time. I'll hold him. You whisper, but you can't. He smiles a tired, broken smile. I already have 40 years. Your chest shatters in ways pain never taught you. Then the ice above you explodes. Your double throws himself at the creature. Half-frozen body slamming into the monstrous survivor. And both tumble into the collapsing ice wall in a tangle of limbs, frost, and ancient rage. The chamber rips open behind them. Snow pours inward. Ice collapses in deafening crashes. The fox yelps and nudges your leg, pushing you deeper into the fissure toward the faint glint of metal. You run, crampons biting, lanterns swinging, heart breaking. The chamber above closes behind you in a storm of white. Darkness swallows the world. But ahead, in the narrow blue throat of the glacier, the signal pack glows faintly in your lantern's last gasp of light. You reach for it. Your fingertips brush the frozen canvas. And the moment you touch it, a shock of memory detonates behind your eyes. So violent your knees buckle. So vivid it drowns the sound of the world collapsing above you. You remember everything. The shock of memory slams into you so hard your vision whites out. You fall to your knees, hands slipping on the ice as the signal pack presses against your palms like a relic torn from the past. The fox whines, circling you in tight, frantic loops. Its fur brushes your coat, grounding you, keeping you tethered to now while your mind tears backwards through then. Pain rips through your skull as 40-year-old memories erupt, unspooling like a film reel that never should have been buried. You gasp, and the glacier becomes the night of the avalanche. Flashback the true night. The storm was alive. Wind snarled down the ridge, carrying snow that hit like shards of glass. Visibility vanished in sheets of white that erased horizon and sky alike. You were younger then. Vaster, stronger, fear sitting differently in your bones. The fox's mother, a thin russet shape, limped ahead of you in the snow, whining sharply at a dark mound half buried under drifts. A soldier, the man who would become the creature, lay face down, pinned by ice and debris. Help me dig, you shouted to the others, but most were already scrambling uphill. The rumble above announced a second avalanche building. Your comrade lifted his head. Frost had already stiffened his brows. His eyes were wild, desperate. You go, he choked. Get the pack, call it in. You hesitated. The fox barked, frantic, digging at the snow around him. You dropped to your knees. You dug, but the ridge shook. A thunder rolling through your ribs. Snow fractured above you like a collapsing ceiling. You grabbed the soldier's arm. Hold on. He tried. His glove brushed yours. Just for a second. Not enough. The ground opened beneath him. He fell. The fox's mother screamed a sound you still hear in nightmares. You lunged for the pack. The distress beacon. The only chance for rescue. Your fingers closed around the straps. And the avalanche hit. White swallowed everything. You remembered pain. Cold. Silence. And then, your consciousness tore in half. Part of you climbed out. Part of you didn't. Back to now. You wrench forward, gasping as the memory slams into place. Your chest heaves. Your eyes blur. The signal pack feels heavy with meaning. With guilt. With truth. With history. The fox nudges your hand, whining urgently. You aren't allowed to collapse here. Not yet. Not with the glacier crumbling around you. Above, the distant chamber roars. Not with collapsing ice this time, but with a furious, wounded howl. Not human. Not fully. The creature still lives. Somewhere in the upper chambers. Whether your double still fights. You can't know. You can only hope. You stand. Barely. But enough. The fissure shakes, shedding ice dust and fragments of ceiling. The way back is sealed under tons of collapsed snow. There is only one direction now. Forward. The fox darts ahead, guiding you deeper into the narrow, glowing blue throat of the glacier. You follow, lantern flickering erratically. But the pack thrums in your hands. You flip the frozen latch with stiff fingers. Inside lies the old distress beacon, a folded map, a metal pointer tool, a small waterproof notebook, everything preserved in perfect, frostbitten silence. You switch the beacon on. Nothing, just a dead bulb. But the map. Your hands tremble as you unfold it. Ink smudged, edges stiff, but the lines still visible. A path drawn under the mountain. A narrow tunnel hidden beneath the western ridge. A tunnel that bypasses the main glacier throat and leads to an exit carved by meltwater decades ago. You were heading toward it that night. Before the fall. Before everything split. The fox barks once. Sharp. Impatient. All right, you mutters. Your voice shakes, but resolve sharpens beneath it. Show me the way. You run. The fissure narrows until your shoulders brush both sides. Your breath forms clouds that twist away behind you. The fox's paws tap lightly on the frozen floor, guiding you into tight turns, small drops, thin bridges of ice. The deeper you go, the louder the glacier becomes. Creaking, groaning, complaining under centuries of weight. And under the movement of something behind you. A distant roar echoes through the tunnels. You don't need to turn to know. The creature is coming, tracking, hunting, and this time, it remembers the paths. You pick up speed, feet slipping, knees burning, lungs screaming with cold. The kaleidoscope of blue light turns darker, shifting into deep sapphire, nearing black. Your lantern sputters. The flame fights, then steadies. Just enough. The fox stops abruptly. You freeze beside it. Ahead is a chasm, a massive vertical shaft splitting the glacier. Light pours from cracks high above, shimmering like starlight through frozen waterfalls. A narrow, unstable ice ledge skirts the edge of the chasm, barely wide enough for a person, barely standing. You step onto it. The ice cracks. You stop breathing. Slow, careful, measured. You move again. The fox darts along the ledge, claws gripping ice. You follow with deliberate, trembling steps. Halfway across, a roar explodes behind you. You whirl. The creature emerges from the shadows, crawling out of a fissure, frost trailing from its limbs, eyes burning with frozen rage. You stumble. The ledge groans beneath your weight. The creature leaps onto the ledge. Ice splinters. Chunks fall into the void. Its body lurches sideways, but it catches itself, digging half-frozen claws into the wall. Your voice breaks into the cold air. Stop. It roars, a sound like fractured bone and hatred. The ledge cracks further. You have seconds. The fox barks frantically, running ahead to the far side. The tunnel beyond opens into darkness, where the exit path must begin. You sprint. The creature charges. The ledge shatters behind it. Ice falls in thunderous cascades into the black chasm below. You leap, arm outstretched, fingers brushing the far ledge. The ice collapses under your boots. The world tilts. The chasm pulls. A flash of fur. A sharp bite on your coat. The fox clamps onto your sleeve, pulling with every ounce of its small, furious body. Your hand catches the ledge. Your shoulder screams. You haul yourself up. The creature lunges, but the chasm gives way under its weight. Its claws scrape the edge, eyes locking onto yours as it slips. Rage, betrayal, and something almost like sorrow. It falls into the darkness, its roar echoing long after its body disappears. You lie on the ice, shaking, lungs burning. The fox presses its forehead to yours. You close your eyes. One breath. Another. You survived. But the glacier hasn't stopped trembling. And your double, your other self, still lies somewhere in the collapsing maze. You stagger to your feet. We're not done, you whisper to the fox. Not until you find him. Not until you leave this mountain together. Not this time. The fox chirps softly, then leads you deeper into the dark, toward the tunnel marked on the map, toward the final truth. The tunnel narrows into a ribcage of blue ice. Each curve of the glacier bends inward like the bones of something ancient, frozen mid-last breath. Your lantern flickers, painting the ice in gold and navy waves that ripple across the walls like reflections on water. The fox trots ahead, its paws silent on the slick surface. Every few steps it glances back, checking you're still upright, still conscious, still fighting. You push forward, one trembling breath at a time. Your shoulder throbs with each movement. Your ribs burn. Your legs feel carved from the same ice you're running through. But you do not stop. Your double is still somewhere in the collapsing glacier. He saved you. Again. And this time you refuse to let him die alone in the dark. Gradually, the cold begins to change. The air hums faint, low, resonant, like a generator deep underground, like a heart trying one last time to pump warmth into a dying body. You hear faint echoes behind you. The chasm where the creature fell has gone silent. No climbing, no scraping, no breathings. Whatever that thing once was, whoever he once was, the fall ended it. But the glacier doesn't celebrate. Instead, it groans, as if part of it died too. A sheet of ice slides off the ceiling behind you, shattering in a burst of crystal dust. You don't look back. Your boots skid to a halt just behind it. Ahead, the tunnel splits. One path narrow and steep, the other wide but dark as a swallowed world. The fox sniffs the air. Ears perk. Tail stiffens. It pads toward the wider tunnel and stares into the black. Something moves inside. Not violently. Not with fury. Slowly. Weakly. As if trying to remember how to be alive. Your heart lurches. You know that presence. You feel it deep in your bones. You lift the lantern. Its glow spills forward, revealing a hunched figure leaning against an ice wall, half covered in frost and snow, chest rising in shallow, desperate breaths. Your double, half freed from the glacier, half frozen still, but alive. Barely. Hey. Your voice cracks, shatters in the cold. You stay with me, do you hear me? I'm right here. He lifts his head with visible effort, his eyelids half frozen, his breath a thin cloud. You came back. The words are little more than a rasp, but they fill the narrow space with something warm. You kneel, taking him by the shoulders. He flinches not in fear, but pain. You ease your grip. I'm not leaving you, you say, steady and certain. Not this time. A faint, exhausted smile breaks across his cracked lips. That's new. You huff a breath that almost becomes a laugh. Almost. But the glacier trembles again, shaking snow from the ceiling. You slide his arm over your shoulders. Your knees nearly buckle under his weight. He's heavier than he looks. Or maybe you're weaker than you want to admit. Either way, you lift. The fox circles you, barking sharply, pushing you both toward the steep, narrow path. The exit route. Each step is agony. Each breath burns. Your double leans heavily on you, legs barely holding. But he's conscious, grounded, alive. Why help me? He whispers at one point, voice raw. You got your life. Why give it back? You grit your teeth and keep climbing. The ice shifts under your boots. Your lantern flickers violently. Because you're part of me, you say. And I'm done losing pieces. He doesn't speak, but you feel the breath he exhales. One of quiet reliefs. Quiet gratitude. The fox barks ahead, tail wagging once as if each step brings it hope too. Light. Not lantern light. Real light. A pale, cold dawn filtering through a jagged tear in the glacier ahead. Wind whips into the tunnel. Fresh and sharp and true. You feel your knees unknot at the sight. Your double stiffens in awe, as if seeing daylight after years in the dark. We're almost there, you whisper. Hold on. He squeezes your arm weakly. The fox runs ahead, bursts out into open air. You follow. A wide, snow-laden valley opens before you. Clouds drift in a soft, gray hush. The wind carries the smell of pine from far below. The glacier behind you groans one last time, then collapses inward, a slow-motion fall of ancient ice, burying the tunnels you came through, sealing them forever. You tighten your grip around your double. He sags into you, knees buckling. Easy, easy. You lower him gently onto a patch of firm snow. His breathing trembles. His eyes flutter. Do you think? He pauses, gathering strength for each word. I can survive out here. You place a hand against his chest, feeling his heart trying, fighting, beating again after so long trapped in silence. You're already surviving, you say softly. And you're not alone this time. The fox lies beside him, curling its warm body against his side. He smiles at that. A real smile, fragile but full. You sit beside them both. The cold bites at your skin, but you don't move. You just breathe. The world feels bigger, cleaner, as if the storm you carried for decades finally lifted. Your double's voice comes faint, drifting like snow. Do you remember it all now? You nod slowly. Everything. The avalanche. The fall. The nights before it. The faces lost to the snow. The soldier who slipped. The fox's mother who saved you. The memory that split you in two. And the promise you made to come back, even if you forgot it for 40 years. You look at the mountains glowing under a rising sun. Quiet, massive, bearing witness. You breathe in cold air and whisper, I'm whole again. Your double closes his eyes. Not in death, in rest, and peace. The fox presses its head into your hand. Warm, alive, steady. You run your fingers through its fur, letting the heat of it anchor you. Ground you. Save you. The sun rises higher, painting the snow in gold. Your double sleeps beside you, breathing steady for the first time since the avalanche. The fox curls in your lap. You stroke its fur slowly. You whisper into the quiet morning. Thank you. The fox's ear twitches. Its tail flicks once. You think it understands. You think it always did. For the first time in decades, you feel light, unburdened, together. And as the glacier settles into silence behind you, you know the story is no longer one of loss, but of return, of rescue, of remembering, of two halves finally whole.